and welcome to Forge of Champions, the day 2 of this tournament here. All of the action went down yesterday as we did start off our games with Darkspawn and Phelan making it through to the next stage of the tournament. Now, if you missed out on any of that action, any of those games, you can head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK, where you can catch up on all of the previous VODs from past tournaments and yesterday's games. Now, if you also want to get in touch with us, you can head over to our Twitter at LVP UK. Use that hashtag Forge of Champions to get in touch with us. Talk to us about your favorite meal deals and all that goodies and stuff like that. But without further ado, let's have a little talk about the structure of Forge of Champions and how everything here in this tournament is going to be working out. So I'll bring up the bracket for you in a second, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're expecting, what we see here in Forge of Champions. Now, yesterday we had Darkspawn and Phelan take on EJBY Brotherhood and Envision from the open bracket of the tournament. Today, these two teams will then climb up into the next stage where they'll be taking on Diabolus and Phelan, both in best of threes, as every game here in Forge of Champions will be a best of 3. The winner of that will then go through into the semi-finals. Then tomorrow, we'll be back into the open division teams taking on some of our lower bracket teams. So hopefully that's a little bit more clear for you guys, but it's really exciting stuff here going on at Forge of Champions. I'm just ready to get going, so we're going to pass it over to our casters for our Hell Classico first game of the day.
Jake, you stole the line. Literally, not even casting the series, and he stole the line.
We were going to do this big
so
build-up.
Do you know what? I'm going to every time we do Jake's performances in the start, 'cause he's generally going to be opening the show most of the time. I'm going to rate Jake out of 10 on his opening. Yesterday was 9 out of 10. That was a pretty solid opening for Jake yesterday. Today was like a solid 7. I think there was a little bit lack of personality, Jake. I think I'm joking. Love him. I'm just mad. I'm mad that he took the line. He took the line. He's like, I really wanted that line. I don't get to cast the series. I'm now going to use that line to introduce the actual matchup.
It's the devil taking on the demons, and Diabolus have been looking really good, of course, finishing first in the regular season of UKLC, then in the end, or at least in terms of points, and in the end not winning against Fnatic in the finals, whereas Darkspawn, they've had a little bit of a rougher time.
Well, they're in the relegation zone, essentially. They are now going to have to fight. They're in the roughest of areas when it comes to fighting for the UKLC. Now, I do want to just draw our attention back to that. We have got a very Hell-themed matchup tonight, and that's why the term Hell Classico is so good. Hell Classico. Borja, who actually came up with this, by the way, is our production lead. He's incredible. Jay came up with that. Okay,
even better.
Jay came up with that. So everyone, if you know Jay, he's our social media guy. Go tell him how awesome that line is. And editorial manager, not social media guy. Editorial manager. There we go.
And these teams have never played before in the regular
Look
season.
Look at you doing all the serious storylines. Chronicler's like, Scoundrel, this is serious.
This is
so here's
serious
the serious
gameplay.
storylines. And I'm just like, just go meme it, everyone, you know, like, have fun. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I respect you for that, but I'm like, I'm here, you know, I come in and I want to really give it my all, and then...
Oh God, you get okay, this is what happens. You get like casters up and coming in the scene, and they're like, I'm going to make it to the big boy league. I'm going to cast the UKLC. I'm going to cast with Scoundrel. I'm going to cast Scoundrel. I'm going to Forge of Champions. It's really serious. I've got all my notes. I've done my storylines, and Scoundrel's just like, Hell Classico! Look at this little matchup. Anyway, yes, they have never played each other during the regular season of the UKLC. Again, due to the way the tournament structure went down, with Diabolus winning certain sort of tower matchups and then never actually getting positioned in the low end of the bracket versus Darkspawn. Don't know if Darkspawn ever made it out of the first round. I think they might have done maybe once, but irrespective of that, Diabolus never met them in those later rounds in the UKLC tower format. We are into the picks and bans phase, by the way, and actually, believe it or not, Diabolus got the Taric Sona through somehow, and it has generally been banned pretty frequently.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Taric bans, and as we mentioned yesterday, it is just such an annoying lane to play against. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was really confused by it when it was just starting to, to crop up. You're like, well, this can't be good, right? Like, this can't stay good consistently. But it stood a test of time. Hasn't received any nerfs yet, even in the upcoming patch. And we see Zillion and Zyra getting locked in here by Darkspawn. So Darkspawn really try and go for a curveball. And we see Vigo in the mid lane. Of course, yesterday, Beely, LeBlanc was really one of the key players there. Also stole a Baron with Syndra, which I still haven't really gotten over.
Yeah, I mean, Beely did have a good performance, but Vigo is going to be coming in. Vigo is on the team that won Insomnia, I believe.
There he was a support.
He was playing as support this time, and he's playing as mid. I'm assuming this is going to be Varus Zyra bot lane, because one of the things that Taric Sona generally struggle with is that ability to take lane trades in the early game. So if you've got a Zyra and a Varus, maybe you just have that all-in potential to try and take them out, especially pre-6. So maybe looking for a little bit of lane dominance versus this particular combo. I'm assuming that then that means it's going to be Zilean mid, which as a first pick is a very odd first pick here, but again, something that maybe Vigo wants to take in tow.
It really is. I do feel like the Varus rather is a pick that requires extra safety because he is one of those stationary AD carries, often also seen with something like a Tom Kanch, who on this patch is still relevant, won't be anymore afterwards.
Yeah, we're still on 9.8.
Unfortunately for him, as the Lee Sin is also taken away, and the Gnar, they've watched yesterday's games, I got to say, because Akers was really the one who, in both of those games when he played it, was able to make sure that Darkspawn had a shot like he was just a win condition in and of itself. And the Orianna taken away from Croxen, just the most comfortable pick for him.
Yeah, it's a super comfortable pick for Croxen. The Zilean is also a very comfortable pick for Croxen, which may lend to why it was taken away from him. It feels like with the Ryze ban, the Orianna ban, the Zilean take, you're maybe trying to target Croxen a little bit, but he does play things like Vladimir, so he always has that ready to go in his wheelhouse, so it's definitely something that we should look towards in the later stages of this draft. As I say that, literally just gets banned, so never mind. Yeah. Again, definitely feels like we are trying to target Croxen, give him a sort of a slightly poorer matchup into Vigo. The Aurelia gets locked in here, though, and that's very interesting because that could be Croxen playing Aurelia, given the fact that Hecarim can definitely flex top, and Hecarim is something that Kerberos quite frequently likes to play on the top side of the map.
He really does, and perhaps more importantly, I also feel like the flexibility allows them so much because there's both the Aurelia and the Hecarim can still get flexed so many ways. So you can see the full draft here from Darkspawn and based on that decide who you're going to put where.
Sure.
Now I got to agree with you. Probably going to be the Hecarim top lane, the Aurelia in the mid lane, and then they need to find themselves a jungler. Now I'm not sure what they really want to go for here.
Is Jarvan banned? Because if Jarvan's not banned...
It's not, no.
If Jarvan's not banned, you have a disgusting team comp when you get to the team fight stage. Like,
yeah, that is...
Like you've got Taric ultimate with the engage of Jarvan and the Hecarim, and then you have the follow-up of the Aurelia. If inside that Taric ultimate is going to be just absolutely wailing.
Like Crescendo, Onslaught of Shadows, and Cataclysm all combined together as well. It's absolutely disgusting. We see the Urgot there for Darkspawn as Akka's going to be taking that to the top lane, and yeah, the Jarvan just not getting touched here. It seems like might be seeing it last pick now here, but this could be the Taliyah jungle that we've also seen today at MSI starting to crop up more and more. And instead they go for the Jax, which leads me to believe that it's going to be Jax top lane unless we're going to see Monkeys play Jax jungle.
And then we see the jungle come through for Monkeys.
It is going to be the Hecarim.
Interestingly enough, it's Croxen playing Aurelia, which is definitely something that we haven't definitely something that we've not seen too much of. I'm not going to see what I just saw through production. It'll get my co-colleague in my co-commentator in hot water. But it is definitely a slightly different champion that we're used to seeing him play, which could lend or lean to the fact that maybe Croxen has looked to expand his champion pool over the course of the last few weeks since the EU Masters. It definitely was something that, against Leader, who played the likes of Yasuo and Aurelia, kind of schooled him on, so maybe Croxen took that time to learn and put some time into these champions, and it's given him a bit more versatility. But look at that teamfight comp from even the 1-3-1 capabilities of this Diabolus comp, which you don't want to do with Sona Taric, by the way. But if you have to, you have the 1-3-1 capabilities there. It's disgusting. It's very disgusting.
It is, and also looking at the matchup in a more broader sense, Darkspawn, while they were able to win their game in the end yesterday, it was incredibly hard for them, right? They dropped their first game, and then they painstakingly were able to get the next 2 wins in. Coming up from Diabolus, yes, the EU Masters show didn't make it through the past the play-in stage, but that's EUM, right? Like, they had a really good season, and I gotta say, I'm kind of worried here for Darkspawn, and I'm curious to see how they're going to shape up against Diabolus, because Diabolus traditionally do have struggled a little bit in best-of series.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do too well in the European Masters best-of series. However, they did make it to the European Masters in the first place, so that kind of caliber of team, they're supposedly top of that European competition. What I do want to draw attention to the fact is that we know how a Sona turret composition works. You get to the mid-game, you group up as a 5, you just take Baron, because you have infinite sustain with the Sona and the Taric. You tower dive the turrets, and you just like steamroll your way through. Let's look at Darkspawn, though. Kindred, Zyra, Zilean. Kindred can stop the deaths immediately, look to regroup, get some damage down. You've got Zyra, really good at disengaging. All-in team fights, put the Zyra ultimate down, knock things up, reset things the way you want to. You've got the Zilean, which will bring back an AD carry to life, which is interesting because usually there's two ways we think about dealing with a Sona turret composition. Self-peeling AD carry, like Vayne or Tristana, or heavy burst, so like bursting out the Sona. But I actually think there are tools in the Darkspawn team fight that could deal with Sona Taric all-out team fight compositions.
Definitely, and I feel a little bit weird about the Jax because I understand that you want to give Kerberos a comfortable 1v1 matchup, but it does feel to me, like you said, you don't really want to do a 1-for-1. And now just getting the Aurelia, while not being the most amazing in team fights, I think you can still work around that, especially with something as strong as the Hakrami or jungle. But now with a Jax and an Aurelia, I feel like your team fights are going to be a little bit suspect, whereas with Taric Sona, you want to go for that. And I know that Jax, if he can find the flank, he will still be able to put some work in. But I would not have minded something a little bit more team-oriented in the top lane.
I actually don't mind Jax so much, as we are just now onto the rift between Diabolus and Darkspawn for this best of series second round of Forge of Champions. I do think that because you've got so much CC combined, it's just all about finding that counter-strike. Apologies if the sound is a little bit out of sync. As we, I'll get that worked on, as I'm going to look directly into my production manager's eyes and say the sound is out of sync on the game. So, so the sound is out of sync on the game, just so you know.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I'm sorry, I don't have talk back. So I was like, I'm just going to tell him. I'm just going to go for it.
And looks like it's about synced up now. We see the explosion.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, we're synced up again now. Yeah, we're perfect. I don't know what happened, but yeah, there we go.
And as you say, the Kindred here with Conqueror as well, press the attack, like with a lot of other junglers, honestly, has kind of been abandoned in favor of the new Conqueror rune, giving more sustain, giving more power in these drawn-out fights. And the cleanse coming out here from Yusa as well means that he is actually, in fact, a little bit threatened of, as we mentioned earlier, the pressure that you might get from Azorian, because a single route and post 6, the follow-up from the Corrupting Chain from Flirt is something that even with the Cosmic Radiance, I think you might have a hard time staying alive through. And a cleanse is going to make that a little bit less threatening.
I see Kerberos just looking to go for an offensive counter-strike there. It's a tough situation. You don't want to just like jump into the middle of a fight with an Urgot, although the earlier levels for Urgot now are just a little bit easier to deal with. It's only when he starts to get towards those later levels. But you can see, this is kind of what you expect versus the Taric Sona lane. Although, wait a second, fast-legged, very low, forces the heal, and suddenly now Flirt turns things around. The level 1 all-out brawl in the bot lane as Yusa just tries to zone away with that Q.
And Hado traded heal for heal there. So not the absolute worst of trades for Darkspawn, but with the sustain in your Taric Sona bot lane, you're going to feel a little bit less worse about that. And fast-lagged, hit early level 2, but you can't afford to get it. And a great stroke of luck there for PFI, who was able to pick up his first mark already as the topside scuttle was marked by the hunt there for the Kindred. And that means that as we see Bomb getting tanked, and early on, especially pre-ultimate, you got to be so careful because a single stun hit combined with the Ignite is going to be enough to take Vigo down. Now, he doesn't have the teleport available, so I would like to see him take it a little bit slow. But Croxon, he's standing really far forward.
Oh, I think Croxon might just be dead. He's forced to flash immediately as Vigo now following up. Just get a couple of basic attacks in. Croxon trying to kite away right now. PFI might be able to flash over the wall. Surely will. And that will be first blood.
And Monkeys was nowhere near the entirety of that fight. He's just gone for the complete full clear, also abandoning the bot side scuttle, meaning that the second mark.
The second mark is on the bottom side scuttle. That is the free low. If I was in a solo queue game, that's free low for my jungler.
This is where you type, GG next, FF at 15. Because
GG Riot RNG.
Yeah, being able to get to that 4 mark point on the Kindred is so important because it's going to not only make you a lot stronger in terms of dueling, but it also gives you the extra auto attack range that you really need, especially against a lineup where if you get close, you're going to get stunned. Now, I feel like PFI really has no need to invade it, and he decides to batter off it as well, just uses the Scry's Bloom to make sure that they know where Monkeys is. And already we see the top side. A lot of trading back and forth from Akkas, and look at how low Hado and Yusa are getting here now. As a Tarxona, they might sustain through it, but it doesn't mean that they're pushed up very far.
They're going aggressive, going to try and slow flirt down. Monkey's coming in with the charge. That's a brilliant stun, unbelievable. And that is going to allow Monkeys now go aggressive onto fast leg. One more basic attack. Monkeys gets the double, should get healed through by Yusa here, and that'll keep them safe.
It was a little bit close, but in the end it was enough, and I got to question the decision to not try go for the route on the Hackerim as Croxon.
Oh,
not again!
Why did you turn around? Oh my god. Okay, this pick not working out the best for Croxon here, and has now got 2 deaths in the laning phase so far. Again, questions were raised. It's kind of out of the normal Croxon pick.
It's as far away as you can get, right, from the usual control mages into something like the Aurelia, where we've seen in the case of Leader, and this is the route I was talking about, gets sidestepped, but if you use that on the Hackerim, I think that you might be able to at least avoid the charge on one of your 2 members.
You might even stop him getting there entirely, you know?
You don't get stunned.
Yeah.
And instead, they try to use it. Unfortunate decision from Fast like that, meaning that the double kill gets picked up. Then, I gotta say, getting killed 2 times already as Aurelia against a Zillion is not the kind of start that you're looking for as Diabolus.
No, he's diving in and he's disrespecting the fact that those double bombs are just going to stop you in your place. You need to, I think with Aurelia, you need to like go full in and commit that ignite if you want to just go for the early trades. If not, maybe wait till 6 and then have that ultimate that's going to guarantee you that potential to slow down the enemy if they get trapped within the ultimate range. But this is rough for Croxon now. As you can see, Vigo is also level 6. So now he has that resurrection available and ready to go.
It's going to make it a lot harder. We see the Mark camp already getting picked up, and Kerberos can't afford this because you're playing against an Urgot. He already used
the ultimate. He used the ultimate.
I thought he was gonna pull it down there, but he must have started the fight off of it. And this is why Kerberos is so low. He's going to stay underneath his turret and has Monkeys on standby. And in the end, we'll decide to back off that. And that's a good call.
Oh, Croxon now. He dives away from the double bomb, trying to go aggressive. But look at the damage. PFI should pick up just another stack here. I'm wondering if that's his 3rd or his 4th. I think it might be his 3rd. But PFI, 3 stacks at 6 minute 43. That is disgusting. And this is not a good start for Diabolus so far.
And Croxon and through, we keep coming back to this because it's someone like Kerber who stays alive there, and yes, he's behind in a 1v1, but early on against an Urgot, you can't really fault him for it as a range versus melee matchup. And we see the dive being set up. That's a little bit ambitious. It is spotted out as well, and they decide to disengage.
They still have the resurrection, though, you see, and they have the ultimate from PFI. So even if they do get spotted out, the threat of the dive is too strong for Hado and Yusa pre-6. Pre-6 being the prerogative word here. Yusa and Hado would need to get 6 to make that dive more awkward, and it looks like they managed to ward them away long enough to do so.
Because once the Cosmic Radiance and the Transcendence are available, you can't really dive unless you're absolutely certain that you can burst one of them down in this matter of seconds, where something like a Kindred, you don't really expect it to come out, and Croxon once again.
He might be able to escape here, though. PFI dives in, and he gets another kill. That is just 0-4-0 for Croxon on this Aurelia. PFI has hard camped this lane. Vigo and PFI are absolutely crushing. And now Diabolus need to find some other win condition because honestly their top lane is not going great, their bot lane is not going great, and they have a 0-4 mid laner at 7 minutes.
And I think eventually you're going to reach a point where Kerberos is going to be able to take on that 1v1, but Urgot's mid-game spike is still incredibly strong. And the fear beyond death means that it's going to be so incredibly hard for you to make those engagements work, as you're really only working with 75% of your normal health bar. As soon as you get taken low, you just get instantly executed. And it's PFI who makes the early aggression work on the Kindred here, and that means that it's not only Flirt who might become a threat in the mid to late game, it's going to be PFI, because if he gets even further fat, he can just he can be used as like a secondary AD carry, who not only has the Lamps Respite available if he's almost get taken down, but then there's also always the opportunity for Vigo to go for the chrono break on him.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, that Kindred is a massive threat to a composition like this, because especially with the Lamb's Respite, and if you get insanely fed, you're going to start dealing really high levels of damage. And when the Lamb's Respite is down, it kind of limits what you can do with the Sonataric composition. You just want to go for the all-out team fight. But Krogson was a major part of the damage source for this team, and he's now doing really badly. I mean, I don't even really know how to describe this. Obviously, it's not all his fault. He has been camped, but he's been going too aggressive. He's not been respecting jungle presence, and his stuns and follow up on those stuns has really kind of left himself open for these ganks coming through from PFI.
And without the vision, it's so easy for PFI as well, because Kindred is not traditionally a really strong ganking jungler, in that she only has the slow available, right? She has no hard CC, as she picks up the Mountain Drake here, and that's going to be even better for Darkspawn, because with this team composition, you already have a fairly fast Baron take. Now, you don't have to sustain that the Taraxona does, but once you have a Bladed Ruined King, you have a Kindred with the marks, and then add a Mountain Drake in the mix to that, the speed with which Darkspawn is going to be able to start doing these objectives is really threatening as well for Diabolus. And thus far, I gotta say, I'm really impressed with how well Darkspawn seem to be performing here.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think obviously Vigo and PFI have found some kind of sync up in that middle side of the map. Yusa and Hado have been pressure being put on them. As you can see now,
finally a mark stolen away.
Finally, I think he also got the marks on his own Razor Beaks too, but I think that this is PFI searching for his fourth mark. Mahado's going to take him very low right now, forced to flash out of that Zyra ultimate. This is something that you've got to be concerned about if you're playing that Taraxona lane. As you can see, PFI now caught by himself. Vigo also at the top side of the map. Attempt to go for the double bombs do not pay off as Monkeys, and now Kerberos underneath the tower. Kerberos is going to be forced to ult at some point, but he will not be able to survive. There's a huge amount of damage coming down as the Chrono Break does work. Kerberos might survive here, but they still have Lamb's Respite to work with, so I think they're very happy to continue this, as PFI should get that kill. And that might now give a load of turret plating over to the Darkspawn squad. And
Darkspawn is just looking incredible here. They're able to find a dive, in the amount of invulnerability and revives that they have access to means that it's so easy for them to execute that. As Kerberos and Monk is trying to handshake that, it really feels like a mistake to me. If they try to maybe disengage as they do, they walk towards the turret, but now it's already too late because they've already taken so much damage here. Then you get the Fear Beyond Dev, you immediately hit the Fear, and you don't even, like you said, you don't even have to use the Lamp Respite, and when the Counter-Strike goes down and PFI isn't tanking, it's really easy for him to just walk after Kerberos and clean up the kill. And the real issue for me is that the only real trade that they were able to get is one play on mid lane, because bot lane was so far shoved in. Monkeys, there's no objective for him, and he was taken down. And
they get the turret. You saw them get the turret earlier on there, but I think Monkeys could have actually used his ultimate to try and at least buy some time under tower. The problem is he didn't even use it before he got taken low enough for that ultimate from Akkas to come through and pick up the kill. But honestly, this is awful for Diabolus. They're still within about 2,000 gold. So whilst it feels like, honestly, Darkspawn have been like manhandling them all the way across the map, you still have only a 2,000 gold deficit to work with. And I'm guessing a lot of that's coming from the Klepto on Yusa, the fact that Hado and Yusa have kept themselves fairly level in the bottom side of the map. But I do think this has been a pretty good kind of performance from Darkspawn so far.
I don't think this is really what you'd expect from one of the highest ranked UKLC teams versus the team that is facing relegation, because don't forget, Darkspawn need to fight for their UKLC live, and now we're starting to see some proactive play come down. But I also love to see an early Rift Tower there as Kerberos. It's not going to end well.
Be very careful as he jumps over the wall. Can Akkas get the ultimate off? I don't know if he's got it off cooldown. I think he's already used it, as now PFI chasing down Kerberos. Kerberos trying his best, but I think PFI will get that last basic attack, and that should allow him to secure.
A lot of flashes used, but in the end, still pick up the kill, and Diabolus are just getting taken down on every single part of the map.
Look at them. Oh, wait a second. Dive coming through here on the bottom side of the map. That's a Taric ultimate. Teleport there. Now there's going to be Akkas coming through as they attempt to get damage. Monkeys gets the ultimate off. Will he get the kill? He doesn't even. Oh, he does. The red buff will do it, but that should be a return trade as Varus picks up Monkeys in return. Krogson goes down to a PFI and to Vigo once more. This is awful right now for Diabolus. Kerberos even being forced to teleport to mid lane to try and save the day on this mid lane turret, but honestly, it could not be going any worse for the Diabolus squad so far.
Exactly, he gets some damage off, but every single part of the map, the only good play that we've seen, proactive play from Diabolus, was that bot lane dive. that got traded 1-for-1. We see the mid lane players getting taken down there. We see the top lane has been firmly in control, and Kerberos, really one of the big ring conditions on that Jax, has now been completely neutralized. Croxon even flashes there, but still gets taken up by the duo of PFI and Vigo. And I gotta wonder, like, for Diabolus, it's going to be so incredibly hard for them to really find a way back into this game, because I don't feel like the Taric Sona lane does really well when you're far behind and not able to take any of the team fights. And you always have the threat of something like a Baron, but against a composition like Darkspawn, I don't think you're going to get given any space for that.
I mean, Taric Sona is like an infinite scaling composition. So, like, this is like one of those solo queue games where I'm like, don't worry, guys, we got late. That's like one of those. This is like one of those things that I would be saying in this particular game. Like, we got late, guys. We got late. It's perfectly fine. You just have to buy time and stall. And even though seemingly Diabolus have lost plate after plate and done awfully in their lane matchups, they're still somehow within about 3,000 gold. I mean, at 15 minutes, that's not we would consider 3,000 gold a major lead. So when we do EU Master Stats, for instance, we consider a major lead 3,000 gold or above. But the Darkspawn have only just generated a major lead in inverted commas, right? So I mean, they've got to continue that. They look like they probably could, but I mean, Diabolus are holding on.
They definitely are, and it's not like they don't have ways back into this game, but I do feel like it's reliant on Darkspawn stepping too far forward. And when looking at that, it's also important to realize how many tools Darkspawn have to keep someone who overextends alive, because we've mentioned it so many times already. If someone like Flirt is standing a little bit out of position and he gets tagged by stun, he gets jumped on by Kerberos, then there's the Lamp Respite, there's Akkas who can try to be a frontline, there's the Zillion ultimate available, and there's the AoE ultimate as we see come down here. Hado forced to flash immediately. It's not even enough.
He doesn't even have his ultimate left ready. He caught himself out of position there, and there should be the mid lane turret going down to Darkspawn. I mean, Taric is absolutely integral to the way that their teamfights are supposed to operate, and without him, it's a very difficult teamfight to make work, as Yusuk is in a position to make a flash ultimate, but I just don't know whether they have the damage to follow that up.
I don't think they do, and more importantly, they also really lack the CC without the Taric available. The invulnerability is not there, which means that you can't take the risk that you normally would, and especially when you're behind, you need to really eke out every single point of damage you can get, because your big carries, both of them, are really far behind their opponents. Akkas now, we saw this yesterday happen on the Gnar multiple times, now also in the Urgot, able to be 30 CS up. And looking at these item spikes that are starting to get hit, I think that once we see that Ginza's Rage Blade here on someone like Flirt, it's going to get even worse. And look at that build from PFI. He's not afraid of anything. He knows the amount of backup he has, and he goes full AD Kindred, Infinity at second here.
I mean, sometimes you'd see like a Blade of the Ruined King as an item after your jungle item, but this is Infinity Edge second PFI. This is a Kindred that is snowballing like crazy. You pick up a Zeal on top of that, and suddenly you're laughing in terms of your damage output. He's going full self-made. Just that first item, Infinity Edge.
Exactly, and while on the Rek'Sai, I feel like it was a lot more debatable. For the Kindred as a snowballing build, with the amount of backup you have here, it is risky, and it is reliant on PFI not being out of position, because if he gets taken down with something like an Infinity Edge, then yes, that is something that you can't afford to, as we see Akkas here, up in the top lane.
Yeah, just forcing Kerberos away time and time again. Wonder whether Akkas will know. I think he'll see, as you can see now.
Does he feel something's wrong?
Yeah, I just feel that there was a rotation coming out from mid, and Diabolus are like, yeah, we probably can't make this gank because we can't see any of those mid lane players. And they're all now in the red side jungle from Diabolus too. Diabolus have got to find some like wombo combo team fight here, but they haven't hit the item spikes. I mean, they've got 3 Trinity Force carries as Hado gets locked up once more. The ultimate's not going to save him here as he goes down to Vigo, finding those bombs over and over again. But that's the issue, I think, for Diabolus, is that they have so many big carries right now, and I think Kerberos is just dead. Yep, he is. They have so many big carries right now that rely on Trinity Force spikes, and none of them have got Trinity Force yet. None of them are hitting their item spikes, and that small major lead that we were talking about is now 7,000 gold. And
it's also about the way the Diabolus is losing, because it's not like they're trying to make plays and they're not working. It feels to me like they're just letting Darkspawn do everything that they want. They can just walk up onto the top lane turret and pick out an inhibitor turret at 18 minutes. And yes, the wave clear that they have isn't amazing, because you're really majorly relying on the zone. Everything else is in more short range as you try to clear these waves. But even then, like, Kerberos getting taken down there.
What's Croxon doing?
he's just trying to get out with his life.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I guess.
I think maybe was he looking for a flank and then he kind of pieced out in that situation. Should be able to get out of here with the back.
Akkas was looking for him.
He was looking for him. And this is all. Do you know what this just? I don't want to say it. It just looks like a really sad performance from Diabolus.
Not because I think that, it just feels like they're so dispirited. It doesn't feel like there's a fighting spirit. They're just getting caught everywhere. We've seen Hado multiple times. They're just walking around and then they get picked off. It doesn't feel like they're really on the ball, like they're trying to play into what they expect Darkspawn to do instead. Every single rotation that we've seen from them thus far doesn't work. We've seen so many 1v1s. We've seen Kerberos getting taken down a couple of times now. We've seen the bot lane getting really not dove rather, but like getting pushed in aggressively and not really finding any avenue back into the game. And now the Baron is about to come up, and I can't believe I'd say this, but with how Darkspawn has been doing thus far, I wouldn't be surprised if they just take that up the moment that it spawns, because they have the bot lane pressure, teleport's available on Akkas, Kerberos can't really do anything. They can
absolutely do it. You've got such a fed Kindred right now, and you've got a Blade of the Ruined King on your Varus. Your Urgot is disgustingly fed as well. I mean, everyone on this team can essentially 1v5. The saving grace right now for Diabolus is that you can see some Trinity Force spikes have been hit. We're still waiting for Krogson to hit his, but Monkeys and Kerberos have got their Trinity Forces online. And we're working towards that Lich Bane coming on for Sona. But you're right, Baron spawns in 20 minutes. Look how quickly that is going down.
They're not going to contest this.
That is just monstrous.
It's 20 minutes into the game. This is not like a 35-minute Baron where you have full items. There's nothing they can do. They can't afford to really try. They might have, maybe if they knew what was going on, tried to throw Monkeys over there with an onslaught of shadows, but that's a Hail Mary play if I've ever seen one. And instead, the free Baron gets given over to Darkspawn Gaming. There's not a lot of wave clip for Diabolus, and it is a team with a Taric Sona that is kind of reliant on getting a Baron if you want to start pushing yourself. Now, that is still so far away. Akkas having a little bit of difficulty here with the blue buff.
Yeah, awkward reset on the blue buff there, but he should. I mean, actually, Monkeys is going to check him. I don't know whether Akkas will get this. Monkeys maybe looking to smite it away. Yes, he does. Akkas.
Small victories.
Small victories. Akkas actually pops the Righteous Glory. He's very, very reluctant to let that go. And that brings through his ultimate. They're trying to get it. He gets it. Oh, the flash route sets him below the percentage needed. And that's going to be the ultimate picked up for Akkas as he takes down Monkeys. They're going to zone away with those bombs. And Kerberos takes a third of his HP from a single bomb. Oh, bloody hell, Diabolus.
I can't believe that fast like play worked.
I mean, mate, it was blind as well, I think, for the most part.
Incredible as the inhibitor now goes down, and it just feels like Diabolus is in shambles like their base. We see them moving forward. PFI.
Oh, double ultimate.
I think this is the first Lamb's Respite that we've seen this entire game.
Genuinely think you're correct. I think this might actually just be the first Lamb's Respite we've seen. And I genuinely think that we could be looking at a sub 25-minute win for Darkspawn. I just do not see a way that Diabolus find a way back into this game. It has looked despondent from them. They have not looked like they've been playing their normal side. They've basically been inting in their solo lanes for a lot of the part. I mean, Krogson went 0-4 at 7 minutes. Credit to him, he's only died once since 7 minutes, but irrespective of that, it was not a good early laning phase for Krogson, and he has been punished, and PFI's Snowball, regardless of what you think about the Tona Taric composition, is now that's going to be an aggressive move by Krogson. The ultimates have gone for Darkspawn, and there's the Sona. I mean, they're not even in the fight.
Cosmic Radiance just got wasted. Yusa, he's the only one who hasn't died yet, but I don't know if that's going to continue as they move forward. The base is open, the crescendo hits too, but it's not enough as Yusa gets taken down. Flash used by him as well. Hado uses everything just to stay alive, and the top mid lane inhibitor is already getting taken. The top lane inhibitor is sure to follow, and Darkspawn are really showing their dominance here against Diabolus, who frankly looks so defeated.
I mean, you obviously had a plan versus this Taric Sona composition, and it's worked out pretty well. PFI really has snowballed this game like crazy as Hado walks to his death once more. They're going to play by numbers as they go for Krogson, and this bottom inhibitor Taric Monkeys is just dead. You can see he's just going to stop where he stands. No fight left in this pony whatsoever as they push through for that final inhibitor turret, going for the inhibitor 2. Nothing that Diabolus can do here. I think Darkspawn are just about to take a 24-minute win from our European Masters representatives, Diabolus. And it looks like there is a revolt in hell as the demons have already bitten back versus their devil.
This is a relegation team.
I know.
This is the team that's fighting for their life in UKLC. And they get a sub 25-minute win, and in what a fashion as well. The early pressure coming through from PFI and Vigo. And Vigo's not even their usual mid laner.
They took that Zilean away. It worked well. Croxon looked uncomfortable on the Irelia. PFI snowballed like crazy. Say what you want about the intricacies of how that composition can beat a Sonataric. The bot lane with the Zyra was designed to put pressure on Sonataric early on. It did. PFI hard camped that mid lane and got rolling. I think he got 3 stacks by 6 minutes and very quickly ramped up to those crucial 4 stacks, like you said. He got an Infinity Edge second item, so he was just like pumping out ridiculous damage. I mean, that was disgusting.
I hope that
I want to go wash myself.
Yeah, I hope that Diabolus can bounce back because, as I said before, I also feel like the way that you're defeated here is so crushing. It's like it felt like from minute 1, basically, they were on the back foot. They weren't able to find any openings, and then the first kill comes through on Croxon. The second kill comes through on Croxon. We see that Akers is able to put a lot of pressure in the top lane. Bot lane is constantly pushed in,
and they actually had the counter pick for the Urgot. I mean, there's not many true counter picks to Urgot, right? But Kerberos had the option, and he didn't do very well in the solo lane up against Akers on that Urgot either. That didn't look particularly convincing at all from Diabolus. But it did look very convincing from Darkspawn.
Darkspawn are really impressing me.
I mean, Darkspawn could genuinely, if they play like that again, this is not even going to be a close series. Diabolus are just out. And usually I like to get really hype, but even my energy was low. I was like, this is just... I can't actually believe what I'm seeing.
It was the way, right? Like, there were so many picks that felt to me like they came out of nowhere. Hado multiple times. He's just walking in his own jungle and he gets blown up while there were multiple people missing.
There were big vision issues, I think, realistically. But we're going to go to a quick break. When we're back, we'll come back for the second game in this series. Can Diabolus bounce back, or will the demons overrun hell?